Welcome to America Watch. Today, we're diving into a pretty wild and very public feud between two guys who come from one of the most exclusive clubs on the planet, the Navy SEALs. We've got Congressman Dan Crenshaw on one side and podcaster Shawn Ryan on the other. And this is where it all just exploded. A hot mic caught Congressman Dan Crenshaw saying this about conservative commentator Tucker Carlson. As you can imagine, that clip went viral almost instantly and started a massive online firestorm. Well, that comment got an immediate and very sharp reaction from another former SEAL, Shawn Ryan. You might know him. He hosts a really popular podcast with a huge following. And this wasn't just some simple disagreement. Oh, no. This was basically a declaration of war. Ryan took that clip and blasted it out to his audience, turning what was a political spat into a super personal battle between two guys who were once brothers in arms. So you've got to be asking yourself, how did it get to this point? I mean, these guys come from a community built on a bond that most of us can't even imagine. So how did they end up in this crazy public fight? To figure that out, we need to rewind a bit and look at who they are. All right, so first up, let's break down the two very, very different roads these men took after they left the military. One jumped into politics, the other into media, but both of them ended up right in the public spotlight. Okay, so make no mistake, both of these guys had seriously impressive careers in special ops. Crenshaw was a SEAL officer for a decade and was badly wounded in combat. Ryan put in 14 years, first as a SEAL, then as a contractor for the CIA. But when it was time to hang it up, one guy went to Washington, D.C., and the other grabbed a microphone. Dan Crenshaw's story, it's just incredible. A tough scrad who becomes a Navy SEAL. Then, on his third deployment, an IED blast takes his right eye. Doctors thought he'd be blind for life, but he didn't quit. He actually deployed 2 more times before he retired, went and got a master's from Harvard, and then got himself elected to Congress. Just wow. So his service obviously earned him some of the military's highest honors. And when he got to Washington, he wasn't just a backbencher. He quickly got on some really powerful committees, the kind that make huge decisions about our national security, energy, and healthcare. Now, Shawn Ryan, he took a completely different path. After 14 years in the Spec Ops world with the SEAL teams and the CIA, he decided to create his own mission. He started a training company called Vigilance Elite. But really, the thing that made him a household name was his podcast. The whole point of his show is to tell the stories that, you're probably not going to hear on the nightly news. It's all about the raw, unfiltered experiences of people who have served. And it's not just talk. It's a platform he uses to raise a ton of money and awareness for veterans. Okay, to really, really get why this feud is such a big deal, you have to understand the world these guys come from. It's a world with a very strict, kind of unspoken code, which is what makes this whole public fight so shocking to people in that community. We're talking about the absolute tip of the spear here. These are the units, the SMUs, that do the most secret, most high-stakes missions you can imagine. For them, secrecy isn't just a preference, it's a rule you have to follow to stay alive. Now check this out. It kind of shows you how tight-knit this world is. To get into SEAL Team 6, you have to already be a Navy SEAL. Delta Force pulls from all over the military. But the one thing they both agree on, you stay out of the spotlight, you do your job, and you keep your mouth shut. And this quote, this right here says it all. This is the core rule of their world. Be a quiet professional. You do the job, you don't brag about it, and you definitely don't chase fame. Now keep that phrase in your head, quiet professional, because it is key to understanding this whole conflict. So, if the #1 rule is be quiet, then what on earth happened here? Well, the cracks started to show over deep disagreements about politics, personalities, and some big controversies that really split the veteran community. Look, this wasn't just one thing. It was a slow burn over a few years. You had disagreements on big issues, like aid for Ukraine. Then you had messy stuff like the Eddie Gallagher case. Pretty soon, Ryan and others started calling Crenshaw a Reno, which means Republican in name only. And all this was happening while Crenshaw was in a constant back and forth with Tucker Carlson. And the attacks got ugly. They got personal. Critics like Tucker Carlson came up with nicknames like Eye Patch McCain. The point was to compare him to the late Senator John McCain, basically painting him as a Republican who wasn't really on the team. And those nicknames, they stuck. Now, this is where Shawn Ryan's show becomes a huge part of the story. He didn't just criticize Crenshaw himself, he opened up the microphone for other people who felt the same way, like Eddie Gallagher. His show basically became the main hub for anyone who had a problem with the congressman. And then, after Crenshaw's hot mic threat came out, Ryan jumped online with this. It was seen by a lot of people as him just pouring gasoline on the fire, even suggesting a physical fight. It took their war of words to a whole new level. And it didn't stop there. Things moved from angry social media posts to alleged legal threats. Ryan put out a video claiming that Crenshaw's office had actually threatened to sue him. So yeah, we're way beyond a simple disagreement now. So look, this whole thing is way bigger than just two guys fighting. It really shines a bright light on what happens when these quiet professionals step onto a totally new battlefield, public life. And let's be real, public life can pay off. Big time. According to the public data, in just his first 5 years in office, Crenshaw's estimated net worth pretty much doubled. It jumped from just under $800,000 to over $1.4 million. It's not just about a government salary either. It's about building a personal brand. Crenshaw wrote a book, Fortitude, and it became a New York Times bestseller. This is a pretty common thing now, using your military story as a launching pad for a career in politics or media. And this really gets to the heart of the problem. It's a total clash of values. In the military, it's all about mission first, team over self. But in politics and media today, you kind of have to build your own brand. You have to be out there. It's a shift from a world of service and sacrifice to a world of influence and income. So all of this leaves us with a really big, kind of tough question. When these warriors step into the public eye, does the mission have to change? Does it go from being about service to being about celebrity? We really want to know what you think. Does that quiet professional idea even work in public life anymore? Or are these just the new rules of the game? Let us know what you think in the comments below. We really do read all of them. Thanks for watching America Watch. If you found this breakdown helpful, do us a favor and hit like, share it with a friend, and subscribe. Your support really helps us keep bringing these important stories to light.